Good evening. The board now convenes this meeting of the Little Elm ISD Board of Trustees in open session on Tuesday, May 19, 2015 at 6:30 p.m. at Zeller's Center for Learning and Leadership. I am Deleon English, President of Little Elm ISD Board of Trustees. On the board's behalf, I'd like to welcome all who are present and to our video viewers. Let me introduce my fellow trustees and staff. Seated to my right is Ms. Leanna Harding, our Vice President, Trustee Cooper Begas, Trustee Christopher Williams, who is not present, and Superintendent Dr. Lowell Strike. To my left is seated Trustee Alex Flores, our Secretary, Trustee Stephanie Gregg, who is present, and Trustee Melissa Myers. For Superintendent's leadership team, we have present the following: Deputy Superintendent Matthew Gutierrez, Executive Director of Human Resources, Ross Roberts, Chief Financial Officer, Grant Anderson, Director of Facilities Construction, Rod Reeves, Director of Communication Services and Community Relations, Pat Robbins, Director of Technology, Integration and Media Services, Russell Van Houten. The trustees, as a board corporate, have the executive exclusive power and duty to govern and oversee the management of the public schools of the district. The board's responsibility and duties is to assure the public that the district resources are being used effectively and efficiently. The board's role in management oversight shall be to ensure the integrity and performance of all major systems, including but not limited to finance, human resources, technology, transportation, food services, custodial grounds and safety and security, construction management, and facilities management. Leadership, management, and operational responsibilities are charged to the Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Lowell Strike. For the public, this is a regular meeting which allows the board to discuss the business of the district. For the citizens' input portion of our agenda, the board has made available public comment cards that are accepted at or before the regular meeting. Cards are not accepted after the meeting has started. All cards will be collected and given to this board secretary. Our representative will present to the speaker at the speaker during the time available. At this time, we'd like to go quickly and pledge of allegiance. And so pledge of allegiance, please join us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. At this time, the board would like to ask those who are present, please. Present, stand for invocation, and we have one of our local community members here to present invocation. Stand for invocation. Those who would like to.
Our dear loving Heavenly Father, we come before Thee at the beginning of this meeting and give thanks to Thee for the many freedoms that we enjoy. We express gratitude to Thee for our great nation and for our leaders. We're grateful for the state of Texas, for the town of Little Elm, and for Little Elm School Board and administrators. We pray that the decisions that are made can be beneficial to our children and our students. We also pray for all the teachers and all those who labor so diligently to teach our children. We express gratitude to Thee for these things and ask this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. All right. Introduction and roll call.
Dr. Lowell Strike.
Present.
Mr. Cooper Begas.
Here.
Ms. Leanna Harding. Here. Mr. DeLeon English.
Here.
Mr. Alejandro Flores.
Here.
Ms. Melissa Myers.
Here.
And not present, Mr. Christopher Williams and Ms. Stephanie Gregg.
All right. Thank you. This evening is a special evening. We've had our elections that have taken place in our city. And through the election process, which is our democratic process, which has granted us through the American Constitution, we have elected members to our board. And we're very happy to have those members elected to our board. Fortunately, including me for our second election. But at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to canvass the election. I'm sorry. I stand corrected. Once again, you're correct. Citizen input up next. We have any citizen input?
No, sir.
No citizen input? Said that was easy. So adoption of the canvassing returns and declare results of 2015 board elections. That's strike.
And you should have the canvassing votes in your folder, and those were sent to us by Denton County.
Do we have to mention the canvassing results, or do you handle that? Or?
No, just
Disapproval? Okay. So there's a motion to approve the canvassing the results for the 2015 board elections.
I move the board approve the canvassing returns and declaring results of the 2015 board election.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Probably not. Not? All those in favor of the canvassing results, please raise your hand and say aye. Opposed? Canvassing results carried, and it is approved as stated by staff. Next up, administrative oath of office for newly elected trustees. It's time we would like to have Mr. Jason Olson. Please come up.
I, Jason Olson, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of Little Elm ISD Board of Trustees of the state of Texas, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state, so help me God.
I, Delion English, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of Little Elm ISD Board of Trustees of the state of Texas, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state, so help me God. All right. Thank you everyone for being here for that event. We appreciate it. Ms. Olson, welcome to the board.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right. Get on with the business of the district. Approval of minutes. Discuss and approve workshop meeting minutes from 3/11/2015. I'm sorry, 5/11/2015.
So moved.
Jeez. There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. 2 seconds. Is there any discussion? No discussion. With no discussion, all those in favor, you say aye or raise your hands. And opposed, motion carries. Next up item, Superintendent Spotlight, Prestwick STEM Academy.
It's my pleasure to introduce the principal of our newest campus, Prestwick STEM Academy, Miss Christy Gibson.
Thank you very much for being here. I am honored to be here on behalf of our campus, and before I get started, I would like for our staff members who are present to please stand up and so they can be recognized as well. It is most definitely their hard work that makes me most proud, because they are ultimately invested in students each and every day in all that they do. And so we're very honored. We'll also have some students here to share a little bit with you, because they are the ultimate reason that we serve. And I'm extremely proud of them. Day in and day out, they amaze me with all that they do. When I had the opportunity to come and spotlight one thing or a few things, I was torn because I don't do well at narrowing down the many great things that happen. And so in that little heart of that picture you see is our campus. We had that sent to us by a local resident that drives a helicopter around, and they took that wonderful picture, and we are a heart of a community that we serve. And we don't just serve our area closest to our campus, but we serve all of Little Elm, and so that makes me extremely proud. And so I wanted to just walk you through some highlights of things that we're extremely proud of, that we've worked hard in this first year. Opening a campus has brought challenges, but each and every one of those challenges has been faced with great determination, and so I'm extremely proud of that. One of the things I'm most proud of was that we developed a mission statement before we even began. And we had key members of our staff come together and talk about what we really wanted for our students and for our community. And we decided that we really wanted to be a community that would empower one another through discovery, that we would connect our ideas and to our world, and we would design with a purpose. And I think when you walk into our campus, you'll constantly see that happening. That design process of thinking, what can we create and how can we make it better? How is failure okay when you realize that there is, through that failure, some learning that can happen? And so you'll see that constantly in pictures. I think that I was able, in looking through pictures and creating this, I was really taken back by the astonishing things that our students do each and every day. Whether it's creating a community and talking about types of resources of energy that they'll use, whether it's building robotics, whether it is creating a society in a little mini community where they had to develop business plans and talk about, as second graders, how they would advertise goods, products, services, what would their overhead costs be. When you have students at that age start to talk about those things, you know it's relevant, you know it's meaningful, and you know they're never going to forget that experience. Then when they get to sell those goods to the rest of the school, that's even more powerful to see advertising take place. Our vision for where we eventually want to be, but never will be satisfied to get there, is that we will collaborate continuously. If you've ever been to our building, and I really encourage you to come anytime that you would like to, you will constantly see collaboration. It's hard not to collaborate because you can see everything that's happening around you. And we believe that you can learn anytime and anywhere. And so in those pictures you'll see students sitting on steps, you'll see students managing themselves tremendously well and preparing themselves for the future. We want to break through boundaries through innovation and discovery, and we want to constantly explore the why. We're not just happy knowing the right or the wrong answer, we want to know why. And I think that you'll see that in our students. They ask continuously, why? And I'm proud that they're encouraged to do so and go deeper. Our core values that not only our students will uphold, but that our staff will uphold, are these things right here. And we have done a wonderful job. And so teachers, thank you for all that you do. And I think the students exemplify these things, and we choose to recognize them for having these characteristics on a regular basis. The thing that we most said was important to us was persistence. You try, you continue to try, and through that process you become a better person. We're service-minded. How can we serve other people? We are solution-focused, so if you're going to find a problem, that's great. It's even better to find a solution to the problem. And we're adaptable. So as teachers entering our building the same day that we met parents this past year, with some wondering if we'd get in, we did. And we have been extremely adaptable. And you see that look of victory on that student's face. You see our National Junior Honor Society and the pride with which they serve. And you see our older students that continually help younger students learn, and vice versa. I think our older students learn quite a bit from our younger students as well. And so any given day, we talk to each other. We use those terms. We talk about whether you're being persistent. We talk about whether you're serving your community, and that's important to us. A sense of community is one that doesn't just happen, and I think you guys know that because you serve our community. And so you're constantly looking at ways to pull our community and be involved. Even since a year ago, I see us having members from our community do our invocation, and so that's equally important to us. Bringing in colleges to come speak to our students during lunch and learn seminars. Having our students create industry partnerships. We've got some of our teachers who are Project Lead the Way certified, and we went to a training this year, and it's just powerful when you can align yourself with others who share a vision with you. And so that was an amazing experience for us as well this year. We also had industry reps from Frito-Lay and from Chemco Company come in and talk to our students about the creation of plastics, the creation of potato chips that you love to eat. And I think that's powerful because that's one of the things that we want for all of our students is to not just learn within a vacuum, but know how that pertains to your real world. And so that was a powerful experience for us, and we're continually striving to do that. We have our career and college day coming up, and we've got plenty of experts that are coming in to serve our children and talk to them about what they do on a day-to-day basis and make it relevant and meaningful for our students. One thing we truly believe as well is leadership for all. So I don't believe that I am by far the only leader on my campus. Ms. Ansel right now is leading very proudly at our PTA meeting tonight. Teachers lead regularly, and so do students. We talk about students being leaders on a continual basis. Our students learn the 8 habits of highly effective children. They can verbalize those to you, and we're extremely proud of that because we're creating a generation of leaders. If you look over on the top left-hand corner, you'll see an all-girls group that we took to a women-only STEM conference for them to be able to start to talk about what that means to go into those career fields. We start teaching we have athletes who we're so proud to share with Lakeside, and they are leaders on our campus. But you lead from the time you walk into the building to the time you put your head on your pillow at night, and that's something that we're extremely proud of. When you hear our students speak tonight, I think that you'll see that they are preparing to step into those roles that are so critical in our community. And then we know how to have fun too at trivia night. Never be underestimated. We're going to have you talk to some of our students. We have some of our robotics teams here. We're extremely proud. In our very first year, we went to some robotics competitions. It was a big step for us. We were very excited and also very intimidated because when you go to these tournaments, you see people who've been competing for years together. And some of our students were amazed at the creations that were made, but then they were also inspired. One of the things that I found most exciting was through these competitions, you genuinely see it's a competition, but you also see a camaraderie. So you see someone's robot go down and you see another team go, oh, how can I help you? Here's my wheels. You can have my wheels. You can have this piece. They also are allowed to team up and talk together. Looking at their faces as they competed was priceless. And that's something that we're going to strive to be. There's not many areas right close to us that are hubs and that host competitions, but I want you to know we're going to lead the way in that, and we're going to host some competitions, and I hope to see you guys there. Our students have grown tremendously in the ability to think and collaborate and partner with each other to create these robots, and also learn about how to have good disagreements when you're driving a robot and you want someone to do something else with it, or how to deal with when things don't go exactly how you planned. And so I'm going to give a little bit of time right now for them to come up and talk to you about being on the robotics teams, as well as participating in our Gateway to Technology course, which is high school credit engineering courses that they're already earning credit for. Extremely proud of. So where's Miss Tatum? Come on up, Miss Tatum Mowry.
Hi, my name is Tatum Mowry, and I'm an 8th grader at Prestwick STEM Academy. I just want to talk a little bit about STEM. It's been absolutely wonderful. I've got to learn things that I would never have learned at a traditional middle school. I've gotten to collaborate with the little kids, and I've gotten to do so many different projects in Gateway to Tech that it's outrageous. I've gotten to work with a 3D printer. I'm 14 years old. That's insane. And I've just gotten to see so many collaborations, and I've got to do so many interesting projects that I wish I could go to high school there too. So it's been really great, and I hope I get to have these cool opportunities in high school too. So thank you.
This is Mr. Olson and Mr. Sladacek, and they worked extremely hard this year creating robots, and so they're going to show off some of their things that they would like to show, and I'll let them speak about it afterwards. So you guys can demo first, and then feel free to talk about what you're doing later.
So I'm Lego, and so it was really fun this year. And so this is a color sorter. And so what happened is we had already had a competition, and then we had to take it apart. But what the essential thing it's supposed to do is, right here is the scanner. It would scan the colors. They look like this or like these. And then it would drop it in left side or the right side. And then it would obviously sort colors.
Just so people who are familiar with some of the technology, sorting colors for a computer is extremely difficult to do. And most people don't realize that. You look at it and you think, oh, it's just sorting colors. Well, from a computer screen standpoint and a technology standpoint, it's really difficult to do. So it's really interesting.
And then the program, right? There you go.
Talk about your program and talk about it.
So you have to go through many steps programming it. Like usually it's kind of copying, but what you'll do is you'll go through this whole program and you'll go, okay, so this certain part needs to turn, or this certain part needs to scan these certain colors. And then after a while, it'll come into this.
Gavin, you want to talk about your experience during competition?
Hi, my name is Gavin Olson. That's my dad right there. Alright, well, the experience that I had in VEX was pretty fun. I got to meet a lot of my teammates, make good friends with them, such as like Mitchell, Anaya, Tyler Priest, and Tyler S. Two Tyler's very confusing when we said, hey Tyler, come here. They both would do this. Which one? But at the beginning of the project that we had, we were divided into two teams. Me, Anaya, Mitchell, and Tyler S. were all in one. Chase, Tyler Priest, and another girl that I forgot, sorry, we're all on another team. First day, we just went through a couple of ideas, made some theories, did this, get a basic idea. But the next day, Tyler Priest's team didn't show up. So our team kind of said, hey, one of us has to go over there, and I gladly volunteered because he was a good friend of mine. And, well, this isn't our actual robot. The one we used in competition was unfortunately dismantled because we did not know we had any more uses for it. But thanks to Mr. Carnas over there, he has built us another Clawbot. The experience I had over there, it was great. Like, my friends, what we did, it was just a great time. We all had laughs. Dad would sometimes bring us pizza, a couple of Capri Suns, ease like stress when we were close to competition. Speaking of competition, first time we got there, we were all very nervous. As soon as we walked in, we saw teams, work programming, working out games. We even saw one was like blowtorch. It was very weird. We were all very intimidated. And the funny thing is, we didn't have professional kits, but they did. But we somehow made it through half of the competition, beating a lot of other people that had professional kits. So that was a big achievement for us. And, well, we might not have won, but we did have a good time. Always like saying, hey, great job to our teammates, doing all sorts of things. It was fun. And really, really glad that I was in this VEX tournament. Because my grandpa, he designed missiles in the Vietnam War, and that just inspired me to be an engineer. And this was my first step doing that. Actually, second. I did Lego robotics last year. Thank you for giving me your time.
So as you can tell, I'm extremely proud of everything that they do. They are articulate, they are proud, and they are persistent at every level. And we look forward to, like I said, hosting some competitions next year. So in summary, to kind of wrap up, I want you to know that there's big things ahead for us. We continue to strive to be better and better. We're looking forward to being able to create an outdoor learning space through sponsorship next year with our community and extending our learning to really take it to learning anywhere, anytime. And in the future as well, we're looking at being able to offer advanced science classes to our students just so they can take algebra now and get a high school credit. We're hoping to reach out into some of those high school science classes as well and challenge our students. We know our students are up for the challenge, we know they're ready, and we know with your support and with caring teachers and parents that we have at our campus, we're going to strive for great things. So thank you for the opportunity just to share a little bit about this time, as condensed a version as I could. We just greatly appreciate all you do for us. Thanks.
Just a couple quick comments. First of all, thank you mostly to the students for coming and sharing, and you did a great job, and I appreciate that, to be able to get up and speak and share some of the things you've been involved with. So you're the reason we're here. As Ms. Gibson pointed out, I think Prestwick is a very student-centric campus and has a deep concern about your learning and the culture and the climate for you guys, and that's evident every time I've been on that campus with the entire staff. I think for Ms. Gibson, she speaks with the voice of a veteran principal, though she's relatively new at being a principal, and you would never guess that hearing her step up and speak about the campus, but it's driven by her passion for doing what's right for you guys and all the other students at Prestwick, as well as the adults that work there. I think the other thing that's impressive, and I'm really appreciative to that entire campus, faculty and staff, is that you started with building your culture and your foundation. And it's very difficult to open a new campus, and if you do so without building that culture first, you find yourself floundering all the time. But they have a very strong focus, and they live that every day. And so on behalf of the leadership team and all those that are there to support you and what you do to help kids every day, very appreciative of what your campus has done. And thank you for all of you for being here also. Next. As we have the privilege of doing every month, honoring the Little Elm High School Students of the Month. And again, we have Ms. Pentecost here to recognize those students, and it's neat to be able to each month hear the different students that are presented, what they're involved with. And at the high school level, I've been able to come across some of those students in other settings, which is kind of neat. And so we'll find out what you have tonight.
Well, again, it is my pleasure to be here tonight. Dr. Strike, Mr. English, and the rest of the board, thank you for giving us a few minutes of your time. There is nothing I enjoy more than bragging on our students, and we have two great ones here with us tonight. First of all, I would like for them to come on up, Piero and Hannah. They are both juniors in our junior class. Piero, here on my left, is involved in our choir, our theater department. He likes to give speeches. He plans on majoring in petroleum engineering and minoring in music ed. And I said, that's interesting. What does that look like? He said, well, I'm going to get a job and make money so I can do what I love. And I said, that makes perfect sense. He wants to sing in operas and musicals. And he plans on eventually going either to UNT or TWU. His goal next year is to make it to all-state choir. He fell just shy of that this year, one chair away from that goal. So Piero Centurion is one of our students of the month. And he also won... He also was awarded a number of awards last night by his teachers of being a leader in the classroom. So he is doing great things. Next, I would like to introduce to you Hannah Lane. Hannah is a member of our National Honor Society. She is number 8 in her junior class. She is one of our cheerleaders. And Dr. Strike is going to like this. She plans on attending Texas A&M University. She wants to go into biomedical sciences and eventually become a veterinarian. She takes pretty challenging courses. This year, she has been in 2 AP and 1 pre-AP course. Next year, she plans on taking 4 advanced placement classes. So Hannah Lang, again, was last night honored by many of her teachers with awards in different subject areas, and she is our other Student of the Month.
While they're both up there, just let me, Pero, his voice is unbelievable. He sang it, of course I heard him at the choir banquet, but then he also sang at our retirement celebration. He's phenomenal, and I promise he will be All-State next year as hard as he works. But I love your voice. It's absolutely wonderful. And his spirit, too, if you see him smiling. He's a little bit of a clown, too, the way I would guess. I don't know him real well, but just watching him, so he's got the full package, so congratulations to you. And Hannah, yeah, you just keep working toward that Aggie deal. The biomedical science, let me tell you, the biomedical sciences, my daughter started, biomedical sciences at A&M is the best department to take care of kids in the entire college. So you're headed in the right direction, and it's a great place to be, so I wish you good luck there. Next, I'd like to invite Jason and Kelly to step up. Jason serves our coordinator of science, and Dr. Mallory serves coordinator of mathematics. Jason and Kelly are among 2 of what I would say is probably top to bottom, the best group of coordinators I've worked with in 36 years in education, and we're really blessed to have both of these folks here tonight, and that entire department is just fabulous, and so they're going to talk about their TRC recognitions.
I have a presentation on the PowerPoint. We can wing it if we have to.
Well, good evening, board. Like Dr.
You can describe each slide.
Yeah, it's good. I think I have it on my phone. Screen's not very big.
They have it in front of them.
So, Dr. Mallory is going to describe a little bit about the Texas Regional Collaborative for Math and Science that we participated in through Region 11. And then we're going to recognize the teachers that participated in that.
So we decided that we really felt that these teachers have gone above and beyond, and they were worthy of recognition here in front of the board. The Texas Regional Collaborative is a grant program. It's funded through the state, and they provide high-quality, best-practice professional development for teachers each year. Each of our teachers is expected, when they join into the collaborative, to participate in 100 or more learning hours with the collaborative program. So right now our teachers are served through Region 11. There are other locations that also serve the grant for the state, but all of them are expected to endeavor in that professional learning. And so they do that. They give up their time, many hours up front in July and in August before school starts, and then they continue that learning throughout the school year. And part of the expectation then is that they turn that learning around to their peers. So they also have to provide 24, is that right, mentor hours to their peers on their campus. So they have to turn around all of that learning and share. Because the purpose in the grant is to infect best practices amongst all of our teachers, whether they're participating in the grant or not. So these teachers, like I said, have gone above and beyond. Not only have they had to participate in 100 hours or more of their choosing, professional learning hours through Region 11, which, if you don't know where that is, it's 1,000,000 miles from here and 2 hours in traffic. And so they have made umpteen journeys back and forth to White Settlement, as well as participated willingly in all of the professional learning opportunities that we have available here for them. So they are truly our big ticket winners. So we felt like that was worthy of recognition. In your PowerPoint that was provided, there is a short little 1.5 or so video, so that if you just wanted some additional information about the foundation of the collaborative and where it comes from, they also have a website that's got lots of great information. So if you want to learn more, we do have 7 teachers that have been participating this school year, 1 for science and 6 for math. There we go. Yeah, we can watch the video.
Does the video work?
Oh, maybe not. Okay. It's all good. It's all good. You can watch it at your leisure. So if you want to put the slide out. There you go. So that's pretty much what I said, other than what the grant focuses on a different area each year. So this year, our teachers were selected based upon their subject matter and their grade level. The focus area was high school science and 5th grade math, but teachers were allowed at any level to participate. The changes in the rules from year to year, so for example, next year, the math participation is limited to just Algebra 1, but for this year, we were able to send anybody, but 5th grade teachers carried an extra burden for math, and high school science teachers carried an extra burden of additional mentor hours that they had to provide for their team, because that was the focus area for the state, was to build better practices in those grade levels. So again, we had 7 participants that we want to recognize. So the first one is Hackberry Elementary.
So Ms. Tammy Solinsky teaches math and science at Hackberry Elementary. We're going to ask our participants to come up. And we have a certificate of recognition in honor of their completion of the Texas Regional Collaborative for Math and Science, and a little gift for you guys as well.
So Tammy for science. Lakeview Elementary is Erin Hernandez. She's a 5th grade teacher at Lakeview. She's unable to be with us tonight. Her son had a performance that she wanted to attend as a parent. At Chavez Elementary, we have Tracy Hammond. She was a math participant. She is a 5th grade teacher at Chavez Elementary. And at Crestwood STEM Academy, we actually have 2 participating teachers. Janelle Madeley is a mad woman because she has done it twice. She's a 7th grade teacher at Crestwood, and this was her 2nd year to participate in the academy. And she is not with us tonight because she had a baby today. So she has a good reason. And then Crystal Casey Smith is our 4th grade teacher at Crestwood, and she has been participating this year. And then at Lakeside Middle School, we also have 2 teachers. Tim Hoffman is an 8th grade teacher at Lakeside. And Alicia McCaffrey, who teaches 7th grade at Lakeside. Thank you.
Thank you to both of you. Just a couple comments. When you think about teachers that care enough to step up and participate in something like this and put in that kind of time, on top of the fact that their plates are already full, just trying to do their daily job, that's very impressive. We know that teachers are the most important people in the delivery of education, hands down, nobody comes close. And for those to step up and be willing to not only gain for themselves, but then the piece of coming back and sharing in that 24 hours of mentoring. But at the end of the day, what's important is if we're going to change schools and have higher student achievement, it's going to come from one thing, and that's teacher leadership. And for teachers to step up like that, it speaks volumes. So thank you very much for being a part of that.
Thank you once again. That's a wonderful achievement. Thank you for being part of that. At this time, the board will recess into closed meeting in the professional development room as permitted by the Texas Open Meeting Act, Code Subchapter 551.074 at 7:09.
Good evening, members of the board. I presented to you a staffing plan last week. However, I did make an update on collaborating with our superintendent and in talking about the needs of our LEP students, our limited English proficient students, and making sure that we address their needs. There was a position added. Approximately 18% of our student population is considered LEP, which means about 1,300 of our students. And this conversation I had with Dr. Strike, I believe, on Friday, and then we received preliminary results today. And it is just further evidence that we need the support of an ELL facilitator to work with Mrs. Glover here in meeting the needs of our English language learners, supporting our bilingual teachers, ESL teachers, and dual language teachers. Again, the results that I saw today were a little alarming, and that was the only addition that we made to that staffing plan.
Now, that went from 65, right?
We went to up 1 FTE, and so that added $70,000 to the original staffing plan.
Okay. That was
This one.
ELA, okay.
And I think just to add to that, I put that in the Friday update, that we're talking about 44 teachers and 1,400 children, and that's a growing population that this individual would support from a central administrative role, direct campus support. So that just further kind of backs that up in terms of the numbers that we're working with.
Okay.
Any questions?
Is there a motion for approval or discuss and consider approval of 2015-2016 staffing plan? So moved. So moved. Is second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And I may just make a closing comment, and I appreciate the vote. That number, as Matthew shared last time, was over 3.3 million. And those are all legitimate needs. There was no fluff or, boy, this would really be nice. They're all legitimate needs, and did pare that down to the number that you see on that sheet. So cut it by about 1.4 million, $1.5 million. And we'll lay that out as we grow. We'll lay that out over the next 5 years, so you have some idea of what we're projecting in terms of these positions to support.
And we went from 2.4, almost 2.5, 1.9. So
yeah, that was his original, but the main number started out at 3.3.
Initially meeting with principals and having them list out their wants and needs, their wish list. It started out at about 3.7, and then when it went to leadership, we did go down to about 3.3. But what we did come up with to be reasonable, and it is bare bones, and you'll see once you have an opportunity to look at data once it's cleaned up, is that these positions support the need, and there's also need for additional staff, but this is what we can do right now.
great. All right. Business item 12B, discuss and approve one-to-one digital learning initiative sustainability.
Good evening. Last week we discussed some options for sustainability, and at this time the administration recommends a one-year renewal of that initiative based on the Chromebook 3-year phase-in of the Digital Learning Initiative Sustainability Plan for next year.
That's that option 3.
That is option 3, yes ma'am. I believe there's an update to that cover sheet. I believe has a maximum amount of $600,040.
Right.
That is actually down to about $593,720. So just a minor change there.
And that's 4th through 12th or 5th through 12th?
That's 4th through 12th grade.
That's at the very bottom.
Second to last. We have something else on the budget on that? It's good. You're running budget on that one. Okay. I'll spend that. Entertain a motion to discuss and consider approval of digital one-to-one initiative, learning initiative.
So
Spend. Motion, is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Discuss and approve telephone refresh.
Last week we discussed two options for telephone refresh. One was an on-premises solution with PRI lines, and the other is a hosted solution with a SIP protocol. And at this time, the administration recommends refreshing the district telephone system with the SIP protocol option as discussed last week.
So we went from 400,000 down to one, what did we go down to now? I'm sorry, at six, originally I think we're at 600, right?
With some numbers that we discovered following the board meeting last week, the first year savings would be, the first year would be $458,512. That's including the on-premises hardware and the service. And then with the SIP protocol, we would be down to $311,000 for the first year. Ongoing, there's a $2,000 difference on the services. Pending negotiation of a lower price.
Good deal. That's going to upgrade all our phone systems. So
That's correct.
And I know we've been needing upgrades on the phone for quite some time.
Quite some time.
It's all SIP based going forward in the future.
There you go. Well, one of the things we had was, and we'll go to motion, we'll discuss it real quick. Call for motion for approval of the telephone refresh.
So moved.
So moved, is there a second? Second. Further discussion. Originally, I think the original came in was 400-something thousand. We're able to get it down to 121 with the new SIP protocol.
Yeah.
So I think originally a budget around there, so we're really good.
I think the other thing that is nice is that it's going to get everybody together more, not separated lines between, I think it's Brent.
Correct. Brent and Chavez currently have their
separate, so-
analog systems.
Right, so this is going to bring everything
So bring
together.
everybody together, it'll make it a lot simpler for
Yeah.
people.
Correct.
Yes.
Outstanding.
And it's going to save us money. Yes, lots of money.
Yeah, great job on that.
Thank you.
I know you appreciate that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the telephone press, raise your hand and say aye. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
I know Mr. English complimented you, Russell, on your work on that, but I also would like to note that he really worked hard to negotiate, look at all the different options, find the benefits, and do a cost-benefit analysis. And so I appreciate the time you spent, because I know it was kind of clawed and ate at him trying to figure out the best way to go financially. So thank
Absolutely.
you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And I know, we had really some concerns about the older phone systems coming into place, which was causing problems in the school systems where lines were rerouted where they didn't need to be routed, and some other issues. So good to see we really move forward. All right, action item number 13, discuss and consider approval of Senate Bill 149.
What I've presented is a motion to approve the new graduation requirements. As a result of Senate Bill 149, now there are 5 end-of-course tests that our students have to take. As a result of Senate Bill 149, students who fail 2 end-of-course exams can still be eligible to graduate should an individual graduation committee be in place. And so Mrs. Glover has been working really closely with Ms. Pentecost at the high school to establish a committee for those students. And with that bill, as of right now, students they're still required to pass the 5 tests, but if they do fail 2, then we can take their names to that graduation committee, where it's decided that those students can be eligible to graduate should they complete a project in that course or a portfolio in that course. And so what school districts are doing is simply creating a motion and approving us to be able to move forward with those individualized graduation plans.
And obviously, this has already been signed by the governor, so that's why Matthew's bringing it forward. and they moved it quickly for the 2015.
Yeah, I think it's retroactive for 2015, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
It is.
Yeah.
And so the administration at the high school is prepared to move forward and hold these meetings with those students. We have all of the documents ready to go to parents as far as documenting the meeting, and as well as the projects that students will need to complete in order to graduate.
This is one of those last time. She's good. All right. Entertain a motion for Senate Bill 149.
So moved.
So moved. Is there a second? Second. Is there a second? There's a motion and a second. All those in favor of approval for Senate Bill 149, raise your hand and say aye. Motion carries. Approved.
And I'm just trying to get, Mr. Olson's, is it abstain?
Abstain.
Okay.
You knew this one.
Yeah.
He didn't see last week's meeting. All right. Moving on. Reports to the president. Last couple weeks, we've been discussing the board operating procedures as in place. There was an update provided with some amendments provided by the superintendent. Those amendments were put in place into the board operating procedures. Is that I'll send out a copy for the board operating procedures. There was an opportunity for discussion about some of the checklist items. So this really falls in Mrs. Myers' standpoint, and let's discuss the checklist. And if I remember right, there were a couple items that need to be reviewed. The checklist in the, is that in the? That was
You got a fresh one today via email.
Oh, email, okay, got it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, got it.
And the board operating procedures that were with that were also the most updated final copy, of which will be an agenda item on the June 8th meeting for action if the board so.
And we have till next Friday to get you our.
Yeah, if I can get by next Friday on either document. In the color code, I kind of explained in the email what the color code, some of them don't fit us, and some of them are just a matter of what the board's wishes would be.
Okay. Great.
Like, for example, if you have it pulled up under homework, Study the Visioning Institute, the Western States Benchmarking Consortium. We're not part of the Western States Benchmarking Consortium. The Visioning Institute is an older document. It's okay to read, but I don't know that I'd make it required reading. And then Partnership for 21st Century Skills is not a bad document. And that would be one that, again, those are things that a district may, as a board, do. However, those aren't necessarily initiatives we're involved with.
Right. And also we have the yellow highlighted items.
The yellow are ones that the board will have to make decisions on. Well, actually, all of them. It's your document.
Yep.
The light blue ones are areas that you would have, obviously dates are changed and things like that. If you want to do those, we can figure out and plug those dates or just put as scheduled. And then the one that's kind of the pink, lilac, whatever that is, read assortment of books, and there's a book list attached.
Okay.
And again, many of those books are part of initiatives that the district might be doing, and so I can provide a list that would probably be more appropriate for what we're going to do. And I've read all the books that are on this other list, and a couple of them I have some pretty deep training. They're good things, probably just not the most valuable for a new board member to read. And also that suggestion that some emailed me back on is that in the fall we can get a book that maybe the whole board reads as well as superintendent's leadership team. So kind of thinking the same thoughts and talking the same language and same direction, and we can come up with 2 or 3 and let the board choose what they'd like to do. And we'll try and get ones you also can get on audio, because I know a lot of you travel, and that give you an opportunity to listen while you're on the road.
I'd love that.
So real quickly, the yellow items that we have here under team building, enjoy reception honor of the new board members in August. That was one of those items that was a decision, should the board keep or not. or deleted. I don't know if we've done anything like that in the past.
Yeah, I mean, really, everything that's in yellow, this obviously came from another document.
Yeah.
So my goal was to leave what I thought would be relevant,
Okay.
that we could discuss as a board and determine, okay, does this make sense for us? Is this too much? I'd like to get everybody's opinion versus.
You guys want to discuss it? Let's go for it. You in for it now?
That's fine.
All right. Sure. So the team building number one, and I think that's a really good idea. So you want to go over your funnel and then we talk?
I certainly can.
Okay.
So just under team building, a reception in honor of new board members in August. That is something that a couple other districts do currently. It's something that we could put in place to build some camaraderie amongst the board, especially new members coming in. So I left that on there for discussion.
I'm open to the idea. I don't know if August seems like kind of far though.
It's busy with convocation and
Yeah.
school starting. Again,
Yeah.
this was just another district had it in August, but
Now, I can imagine they had it in August because after the summertime, so you don't interfere with June and July.
Yeah.
So have it in August
it
instead.
was kind of back from vacations.
Right. Instead of trying to do it in a June time frame. So, I mean, I think it's a good idea to have a reception. Sit down and eat everything. Watch the family come in.
And Superintendent's leadership team will be more than happy to organize that and get that all set up at whatever your wishes are.
I'm okay with that.
I know a lot of people are off during the summer. When is, and that could be another reason why, because I know July is usually a very empty time at the
Yeah.
school.
Is August a little bit too intensive at the time because everybody's trying to get back, or is?
If it's done mid-August or early August.
My assumption is we probably want to look at it at a scheduled board meeting and just do it ahead of time before, if we start at 6:30 to say, you know, it's at 5:30 or 5:45 and just do half hour, 45 minutes prior to, and then we can, that gives us time to also get a plan
That's a
too.
good idea.
So I think it's nice.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so it looks like number one stays.
I will unhighlight that on mine, and I'll send out a fresh copy when you get through all these.
Do you want me to go through all of them?
Please.
Okay. So the second one under that is just attending the TASB Spring Board Workshop. Again, this is verbiage that another district uses, so we could certainly change it where we require, new board members to attend a TASB workshop or meeting. I actually went to the one in Nashville, and I think it is very beneficial. So
Well, they always have that one in June, at the end of June in Fort Worth, which I think is the leadership, it's TASB related, but it's the
Yeah.
summer leadership.
Okay.
So
So we can just
So
take
we
out
can
the
certainly
date.
change that.
Right, take out the date. Keep the TASB, attendance of the TASB in there.
And we don't have to limit it, I don't think, to any single event.
Right.
Just
There's some-
anything that's
there are
TASB
several,
focused.
yeah.
Okay,
Right.
so we can change language to attend the TASB, any other TASB trainings.
But some of that's required by state anyway.
It is,
So do we want to
yeah.
be competitive on that? Since they're going to have to, anyway. I mean, it's a good reminder.
I'll just change it to attend a TSB board workshop. And actually one that I just sent to Mr. Olson today is that our attorneys do a new board member orientation, and as a member of their consortium, it's at no cost. Normally it's $100. It's a webinar, so at least you can sit at your desk for an hour and absorb it right from our own legal counsel. So,
Well, I think part of this document too is we want it to focus on what your training requirements are year to year. So we know we have to put in so many hours the first year. I think this would be to bring it all together, would be a good document to focus all that, because then as a second year member, I can go in and say, well, I need to have this much training, and I know what that is, and I can cross that off. So after 3 years, my checklist should be full.
Okay. Oh, that makes
Does that
sense.
make sense?
Yes, okay.
All right. So number two, look like we'll keep number two with some language change there.
got it.
Go ahead.
Attend the Team of 8 training. Again, there's dates in there, but that can definitely be removed. I think as a board, it's something that we may want to discuss on a yearly Team of 8 training. I know that the firm that Bob Griggs, we have that paid for, I believe, as part of the agreement. So,
Correct.
Great.
we can utilize that at no cost.
Great. And the teammate training is something we did last year as well as board retreat, so that's a yearly function that we do.
Right.
I think, like I say, once again, I think the language of the dating information needs to be removed.
We can put to be determined.
Right. Same thing with the
As designated by.
same thing with the retreat. Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the language of the location and the dating probably needs to be removed.
So if I change that to attended a to be determined team of 8 training, participate in team building activity, does that work for y'all? Okay.
That work.
Yeah.
And 2, I just changed attend a TASB board workshop.
Yep.
Then that can fit in.
And then under homework, I think, again, I left a lot of this in just so you could get a picture of what other districts are doing, but I don't think it has to be so much.
Right.
I do like, certain ones that I think are effective. A new member's guide to superintendent evaluation, becoming a better board member.
Yep.
I think those are 2 fairly critical ones that we can, as a new member, would be beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
So we could maybe limit this section. But again, your thoughts would be appreciated.
Yeah, you mentioned the Division Institute. That is a older document. Is that correct? Right.
Yeah, it's about 9 or 10 years old, and certain districts have picked up on it and have put some goals around it. It's a valid document. However, probably for a new board member, there's other things that would probably be better for time spent.
Okay. Probably drop that one out.
Yeah, I would almost say we could drop probably
The
green.
all 3 are green.
And if you want, I could go through 4, 5, and 6 that are green right now, and I can put other documents in there if you so choose.
I'll be open to that.
Let me put, and then I'll resend that out. I'll just leave those in there, and I'll put in some more documents that I think will be more pertinent to where we're headed. They'll probably revolve around the rigor and relevance, collaborative work, the professional learning communities pieces, so that we talk about those things or you read about them in the strategic plan. You've got a frame of reference and go, oh, I know what they're talking about.
Right.
And then in the books that might be recommended would be a broader view of education in general.
Okay. Number 7. So watch the 12 documentary videos. That's a lot.
Yeah, so I think this is the section where I just needed help on what do we want to really put in there. So, I mean, to me, like I just mentioned, I think if you look down on line 41, 42B, and probably 44D.
Is there a way we can put this so that they can see what we're talking about? No, this isn't a board book.
Russell, can we put this up on the
Russell might be able to.
Yeah.
Thank you, Russell. In place on number 7, the 12 documentary videos, what probably might be as relevant as anything is there's a lot of, in terms of educational innovation technology, there's a lot of TED Talks and TED Ed Talks that you can put some YouTube links on and pick some of those up that would probably be more entertaining plus valuable
Yep.
at the same time.
So do we want to go through do the same situation?
I think really,
Same process?
yeah, so if Dr. Strike is able to kind of reword that number 7 or just in something that's more
Sure.
relevant.
Yeah.
Really, I think 8 and 9 kind of go hand in hand, but it's more of we can limit that list maybe to 2 or 3.
What we could do is, if you don't mind, if you want, you could leave the list and say, please choose
Choose.
2 or 3, whatever number you want in there, out of the following documents to read as a first year,
Yeah, I like
Right,
that.
that's good. And I think the critical one is that superintendent evaluations. That's one of the critical ones for evaluations. That would probably be a necessary one. And then pick 1 or 2 other ones.
Okay. Let me label that one as I'll rearrange those and put required and then optional. Choose two of the following or whatever. Does that work?
That works perfect. And then the last one, training.
Consider applying to the leadership program. So again, this is referencing another district, but I don't think we have to include it in there. It's just, I wanted to mention it.
Okay.
If there's something that maybe we're going to be doing as a district in the future.
Well, actually, we'll start something in the fall that's similar to Leadership Plano. However, what you will find is probably board members would come out of that rather than board members being a part of it. Well, anybody's welcome to be a part of it. You'll learn more about that this summer. It's a recommendation where you actually on the board get to recommend an individual to be invited. All principals will recommend individuals to be invited, and so will all superintendent's leadership team. And that will start in the fall. That's the one called CLASS, Community Leadership Academy for Supporting Success. And what I've found at other places that I've done it is board members actually come out of that. In fact, in one of the districts I was in, Joan was in it, ended up being the board president 2 years later, because they get interested and go, hey, this is pretty cool, of what they learn about education, learn about how schools do business.
Okay, great.
So at this time, that would not be, probably be the appropriate one for us.
Right.
And the only thing would be is if Little Elm, and I don't know enough, I mean, this isn't this one up here, number one, that's Leadership Plano, like everybody has, a lot of them. I don't know if Little Elm has a Leadership Little Elm. I know they do things like the Police Academy and things like that.
Yeah, I don't know if we have a leadership. Yeah, I don't know if
that's what that's referring to. It's a bigger community.
Right.
Yeah, we tried to do something like that last year, and it got shut down fairly quickly. So it'd be nice if we could, that was the point, was to educate people and to get people involved and show them how things work and to do a lot of that.
Are you talking about from the community standpoint, Little Elm?
Yeah, Frisco has one, and Little Elm was trying to get something off the ground last year.
It just didn't fly.
It got a lot of people looked at it negatively, like we were trying to do something bad. So I don't know that it was started in the right light.
Okay. So you think the coordination between like the district, the city, and other boards is probably a good idea. So maybe we explore that one. Maybe explore.
It probably needs to be implemented differently.
Yeah. We take it out, but then we bring it back as explore.
Yeah.
Is that good?
Mm-hmm.
We get several books which are provided.
And on any of these, we can coordinate all that through Sonia in terms of locating this. We don't expect somebody to go out and find it. We'll be the locators.
Okay, great.
And then I think just as far as the backup documentation, the calendar list, that was very beneficial to me this year, just knowing what events are out there. I have that sitting on my desk, and I try to get to any that I can. So again, just updating that, I think would be great if we can get that in a Google Drive or
Yeah, Cecilia will make sure Pat, or combination thereof, will get that out.
Yeah.
Okay. We have the checklist to kind of work this stuff out. It's great.
The only other comment that I may make is under the training. If you look down through all that, one, you can't do that in your first year.
Yeah.
So, and there's a pretty good price tag with all that also.
Right. Right. So maybe we hone down which ones we consider probably.
Or I can put a statement above as please choose
like
two or three, or I think Melissa even talked about at the end of maybe 3 years, you may have the whole experienced a little bit of all of it as a trustee.
Well, and I think that was the tough part that I didn't make changes to, was just the goal for a lot of the sections.
Right.
I left it pretty much the same as what was in the original document, because obviously I know in the first 30 days, you want to, you've got to take your Texas Open Meetings Act training. There's just a number of things you have to do in 30 days, 6 months, a year, so we may want to just look at.
If I, with the board's permission, I'll be more than happy to maybe work with some of those. I'll highlight those sections and send it back out, and then when you consider it for adoption on the 8th, you'll have seen that, had an opportunity again for additional input. So really, the email I sent today, I need by the 29th. For this checklist, I don't need that. It'd just be the board operating procedures document.
And on a goal, maybe you can say, you know, by your term or my term instead of 12-month goal, by the term.
Well, I think we can.
Or the first 24 months, or whatever it is.
Right. Yeah, maybe 12 months, 24 months, 36 months,
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
So that we know we are here for 3 years, so that way every year you're learning.
You're learning something new.
Right.
Okay. On a training, so on a training.
24 months.
Yeah, 24 months, yeah.
And
That way
I
it's
think-
printed out.
Yeah, I think that correlates to what we're required to do
Right.
by the state as well.
Right, I mean, they were working
How
something
many
out.
hours, you know, that you need to do training each year.
Right.
Well, let me work on that, and I'll get that sent out, maybe with the Friday update, which sometimes comes Sunday night at midnight, but I'll include that with that, so you got it all in one spot.
All right, sounds great. Was there anything else you'd like to express?
That was it for the checklist.
Thank you. So, for the public who is unaware, Melissa worked very diligently on our checklist and the board operating procedures and helped me out. And so there's a lot of hours put into making sure the format and everything else was in place. It is now a new way to basically govern ourselves and how we operate. We're on district and individual employees, so it's a good thing, and I look forward to it. It's a lot of work. It took us about 6 months, 7 months?
A while.
Almost a year, didn't it? Well, we started last summer. Went back and forth, back and forth.
I would tell you that I think the good part when we do leadership training, one of the things we talk about is that the parameters gives you freedom.
Yeah.
That sometimes you think it constrains you, but what it does is it allows you to know I can go here, I can go here, I can go here, I can go here, and I'm safe because I'm within those parameters,
right.
And everybody's operating in those same parameters. And at the same time, they're kind of written in sand that if something's not working, you can come back to the board and say, can we amend this? This didn't work as well, or we can amend it by adding or changing whatever you want, because it's your document.
Right.
And I think that's the other piece we get ready to approve it, is knowing that 7 board members said, this is a document we want to live by.
Right.
And so you want to make sure everything that's in there that you're comfortable with, because there are things that, you know, are going to change based on past practice, but then everybody's operating in a very transparent manner.
It is.
So.
And I tell you, this checklist is a really important aspect of providing crucial information as we get on, you know, new board members that come onto the board. And this will be very helpful for Ms. Stokes and for. So he now knows, okay, these are the things I have to do within the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever the case is. So it's really makes it really clear cut and easy. So good stuff. All right. As far as thank you. If there's anything else other than that, request for agenda items. Ms. Myers, do you have anything?
Not really an agenda item, I just wanted, maybe on the Friday update, just where we're at Prestwick as far as band, PE, kind of what the update was there. I know we had gotten an update 4 weeks ago from Ms. Mika on some of the challenges, but I want to come see where we're at today.
Okay. We'll do it. I'll do that in the Friday update. It probably won't make this one, so if it's okay if I can, the 29th, whatever, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then the only other one I had, I know you are working on a facility plan, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of looking at that. Do we have an ETA of?
Yes, Rod, actually, he and I just discussed a little bit of that today, so I'll segue to Rod now, and he can fill you in on the spot.
Thank you, Dr. Strike and members of the board. Yes, we're working on a facilities update. We're looking at probably in August sometime, July or August. it takes a while to compile, and so I said July, and they were like, ugh. So I'm thinking, August is what we're shooting for. But we'll provide Dr. Strike an update if it changes at all.
What I'll do is I'll get with Rod, and we'll get you, also on that Friday 29th, we'll give you all of the activities and the steps that we're going through and the timeline so that you have a handle on that. Where we had to start with, just to start, which takes a lot of time, is to do a capacity studies on it. We didn't have any accurate. We had some numbers, but with some remodels and use of rooms in different manners, the transitional unit room or whatever, we had to probably redo those to make sure they're accurate, because we have to match that up then with the growth demographics from Hamilton, find out when schools are going to be full and project that. Then we can go into looking at what the facilities plan might look like in terms of what do we need first. And we can think we know what we need. And then also one of the things that I've asked Rod to do is to look at current facilities that we have an obligation to make sure that while we're thinking ahead, we're not letting what we have deteriorate. And not that it is, it's just that we need to make sure that if we have needs on a campus that have been overlooked and we're already building something new and we have facility that has needs, how do we couple all that together to build a new facility and make sure that we're taking care of whether it's deferred maintenance items, expansion, whatever it might be, to look at those at the same time, so that when we get ready to think about whatever the board wants to do financially, that you've got all the information before you can make your choices. And obviously we'd have to come with committees and things to look at that, but there's going to be a lot of options on the table and not a lot of money. And so it's going to be very important, the decisions we make today, that 5 or 10 years from now somebody's not going, what were those people thinking? We're going to have documents as to why we did what we did, making sure that as far as we know, it's not going to impact the future in a negative manner. And of course, with school finance, you never know. It can change on the drop of a dime. The Senate Bill 1759 was up by ACOG for what would have brought us in over the biennium $6.7 million, and he pulled it down. And so now we're looking at the Senate looking at something different. So it can change just like that. They can change the template and your whole world's upside down. So that's what keeps Grant awake at night.
I will add just a couple of things. Is those capacity studies should be done with those this week, and I appreciate Mr. Anderson and his staff's help with working on those. And then, like Dr. Strike said, there may be a couple of things that we'd like to bring to you in June, concerning if we want to make sure we get the construction during the summertime. And so I'll provide that to Dr. Strike. So maybe at our June meeting, we'll have 1 or 2 projects we want to maybe move forward with.
Something that we might need to get done prior to the opening of school.
We'll look for it throughout the summer.
All right, thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Rod.
Thank you.
Appreciate you prepping for that.
No comments for me.
Okay. Of course.
Comments or agenda items?
Agenda item.
No agenda items.
Okay.
Mine's more of a request than an agenda item. I was just noticing as people were coming in, they were having to come to the table for the agendas. Can we put something where they're outside for when they walk in, they can grab the agendas before they walk in the door?
I bet Sonia's priority got that written down.
Thank you.
Yes, we will do that.
Okay, Ms. Speaks.
Thank you.
You have anything? All right, outstanding. Any more comments? You have more comments?
No.
I know Ms. Gregg is not here, but I'd like to thank her for her many years of service.
Yep.
It's a long time.
Yes.
You have to sacrifice for your family and all that. So I'd like to publicly acknowledge her and honor her for service.
Thank you. And I'd like to give a round.
Also want to thank Mr. Reeves for thinking out of the box. I know he's been talking about the parking lot at the high school, and we're going to be able to save some dollars there by not having to repave the entire thing and putting in some kind of drainage there. So
Nice.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Just to kind of piggyback on Mr. Flores, I wanted to, thank Stephanie. I worked with her for 2 years. I had the honor of it, and there were many times we had coffee. A couple of times that we had coffee, and she was very helpful when I first joined the board. So, and I also wanted to just welcome Mr. Olson.
Thank you.
And that's all I have.
need to work. Personally, apologize to staff, community, board members for not being around a whole lot over the past couple of months. If you've ever done any business travel, you know it's not fun. I have been spending extensive time on the road, Mexico City of all places. So apologize for not being available, not being around, missing the meetings. Trying to curtail my travel schedule. No guarantee that will happen, but doing the best I can.
Thank you.
Again, Jason, welcome.
Thank you.
And next recommend.
Under superintendent's comments, just a few things, actually a number of things. One is, first of all, also welcome to Mr. Olson. We're excited about the service that he'll bring to the board, and appreciate those that also ran on that ballot, people that are dedicated and care enough to want to serve our kids, because that's the bottom line, it's about serving kids. And so welcome to you, Mr. Olson. A few things. We had retirement last Friday. The Human Resource Service Department put that on, did a great job, held it right here in the room, good attendance. The longest honored was a 43-year veteran teacher who taught 37 years here in Little Elm, so I think that speaks a lot. In fact, most of them were long-term, and that was fun, and they had family and friends, and it afforded me the opportunity to meet some folks that retired in earlier years that were in the room that somebody said, hey, you need to meet, and so that was kind of fun. Reminder, tomorrow is the Special Olympics. They'll be at the Little Elm Athletic Complex all day, and pending rain or no rain. The rain out date is Thursday, and I don't know that any day the forecast looks very good this week. But gosh, a lot of work goes into that, and that's a huge event, and I'm looking forward to being a part of that. Just some items this week. Spring football game is Friday at 6 o'clock. This Friday also the strategic planning teams will be getting back together to present the action plans and action steps. Tuesday the 26th, the top 10 dinner reminder at 7 o'clock at the Tribute, and I believe you all have invitations for that. Graduation coming up. Just a reminder of that, and I'm going to send a little blurb out to everybody about kind of the protocol of graduation in terms of the participants from the board and how probably, and I've already pre-discussed this with Mr. English, that involves the board in the graduation versus just one individual. I think it's important, and I'll outline that for you. Ms. Pentecost will give you the information in terms of arrival and the gown and all of those things, so she'll be getting that information out, and somebody's going to kind of coordinate that and make sure that all gets out to you through Ms. Pentecost. Lots and lots of banquets going on. I think I was invited to I think with the board meeting there are 4 things that I could have gone to tonight, and I know baseball's going on, track's tomorrow night, baseball was tonight out at the stadium at Dr. Pepper. Bands this Friday, I was invited to that, but I'd already committed to do the spring game. But I went to the UIL band at Centennial, so I tried to space myself to hit a little bit of everybody, just because stuff's on top of stuff, and so just lots of stuff going on. And I had the discussion today with one of our principals. Is at this time of year, what do we do as campuses to ensure that now that the state testing is over, what do we do to ensure that learning continues to the end of school? Just because the tests are over, it's not playtime, and was encouraged, at least at this particular campus, I'm sure it's happening at all of them, just the whole idea of enrichment and what do we do now to take our kids to prepare 3rd graders for 4th grade and 4th graders for 5th and 5th for 6th and so on, in terms of continuing to learn and put it in a manner that's engaging to our kids at this time of year. As everybody gets tired, teachers and students and everybody, but every day we have is a valuable day to learn, and it's that what are we doing to continue and move that forward. We have Matthew will be hosting the principals meeting this Thursday, and we'll have a good half a day of training with them. At that particular one, Matthew's invited me to participate and talk about the Excellence Defined program, which is our continuous improvement process, where we present targets to the principals, or called Principles of Excellence, and what their targets will be, and then also rolling in complete SMART goals training that runs from classroom to team to campus to the district level, that we'll roll all that in, and I'll train on that. And then we'll continue to train on that at our Principals Institute in July, so that we get ready to roll out, and we'll provide a complete package to our principals, all completely done, so that they can roll that out to their staff without them having to. Anything we roll out at the district level, we will provide that to our campuses, so that our principals all get the same message out. So we're kind of moving forward with some of those. One of the ones that's going to go along with our strategic plan, now that that's been approved, is looking at a Lobo Creed. A community member suggested that to me, and I thought it was a really cool idea. And the community member actually sent what might be a sample creed that talked about the fact that we can talk about we're all Lobos, and as we move to us all being Lobos, but what about each of us as an individual? What do we stand for if we say we're a Lobo? And so we're going to get a group together of parents and community folks and staff and students and create a Lobo Creed that we could look at if the board would approve it as an agenda item, is even after the pledge is the invocation, is that we recite the Lobo Creed. And I think it would be kind of a way to pull us together that makes us different. And that's what we look at in terms of how do we separate ourselves from other folks. There's a book called The Category of One, which is a business book, but it's how do you differentiate yourself from your competition? You know, how does Pepsi differentiate from Coke? Or how does any other company that you work for, how do you differentiate yourselves from your competition? And really all around us, everybody is competition. And we want to do the very best job with our kids, and one of the unique things we have is the size of our community that we can play on, and the strength of the community of being one and being a category of one and all taking care of each other. Some unique things that we can do that you just frankly can't do in big districts. Yeah. And of course, the diversity of our district is a strength because we represent the real world. Yeah. We represent the world that children are going to go out and work in someday, and they'll know how to do that because of their education at Little Elm. And so how do we pull all that together in a creed? So that's something that you'll be getting exposed to down the road as that kind of gets developed over the summer. So we're excited about all the things that are starting to happen, and I think you'll be excited too when you start to see the results.
And I would like to express even further than that to community members or those who video view. My family went through creating actually a family creed last year for our family, for our kids, just basically defining who we are as a family and what we represent, and would encourage those in the audience as well as video. Sit down with your kids, define what you want your family to look like, and come up with a creed. It doesn't have to be very long. Ours is about 3 lines long. But it's always an interesting idea to sit down with your kids and say, okay, this is what we represent, and every Sunday we say it at dinner. And so it's a really interesting aspect when you see your kids and they say the creed and you realize we really start something with our family and potentially hopefully down generations. So it's a great idea. Thank you. And once again, I would like to say thank you to Ms. Gregg for her service on the board. We really appreciate what she's done for us in the community, and we welcome Ms. Olson to being a part of this. Thank you. Appreciate it. With that said, adjournment, a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
So moved, second?
Second.
All those in favor of adjournment? We adjourn 8:33.